The Australasian Safari is Asia Pacific's ultimate off-road adventure. Competing in auto, moto and now quads, 80 vehicles will traverse over 4,400 kilometres across Western Australia's picturesque outback over 7 gruelling days. It's an epic journey that explores the vast expanses of Western Australia, the nation's largest state. This epic journey starts in Kalgoorlie, in the heart of Western Australia's fertile gold mining country. Western Australia provides the perfect backdrop for this world-class event. The safari takes in some of the world's most spectacular scenery. It's a dramatic landscape with breathtaking untouched countryside. The area is world-renowned for its pristine remote wilderness and is blessed with a rich diversity of contrasting terrain. It's also characterised for its mining and pastoral history. Western Australia is a staggering 2.5 million square kilometres, a single state the size of Western Europe, 3.5 times the size of Texas, and with a population of just 2.1 million people. After a gruelling 7 days, the field reaches the city of Perth, one of the most picturesque cities in the world. Now let's take an overview of the event. A staggering 4,400 kilometres over 7 days, 20 cars, 53 bikes and 7 quads. 5 of last year's top 6 moto finishers will again battle it out for this year's title, headed by reigning champion Ben Grabham. The auto division is headed by multiple safari winner John Hendricks, with Steve Riley another to look out for. And for the first time, quad bikes will have their own division in the Australasian Safari. South Africa's Vickers van der Venter, the man to beat.
This year, a new route, much more challenging for the guys. A bit closer to Perth as well, but travelling through some incredible territory, up through Mount Magnet Sandstone and across to Geraldton, through our wonderful Midwest Gascoyne region, and timed perfectly with the wildflowers just coming out everywhere. So, I mean, why we're so excited and involved with this is it showcases the state nationally and internationally. It's a fantastic event to get West Australia on the global map.
It just keeps growing. We've expanded in size, the amount of officials, amount of aircraft, the amount of trucking, equipment, resources that travel on the road is definitely growing. Got quad from South Africa, an ex-Dakar class winner, competitors from Japan, Sweden, New Zealand, and all around Australia. It's absolutely stunning out there, but isolated it is. And that's the unique adventure of this Australasian Safari. We can offer that in Western Australia. That's the challenge. That's part of its uniqueness, part of its nicety as well.
Defending champion John Hendricks is wary of the long road ahead.
Yeah, I love Western Australia. It's some of the toughest country in the world over here, you know, the break up sand, rock, and yeah, it's just a great place to come visit. Look, it's just consistency, it's preparation, you know, it's a mechanical sport and anything can happen in a mechanical sport, you know, it's just preparation. It's just spending the 3 or 4 months beforehand just preparing the car mechanically and also trying to get yourself a little bit fit as well.
Yeah, I'm here to do well here. I did the Dakar 4 times, won it twice. I'll see what's going on here. I'm a little bit older, but I look forward to do very well here.
Day 1 would see the field start and finish the race from Kalgoorlie, looping their way through 300 kilometres of outback terrain. As the golden sun rose over Kalgoorlie, it was the leading bikes first out of the block. The cool, crisp and clear conditions were soon replaced by a cloud of dust. This is a hazard that typifies the Australasian Safari, making life more difficult for the competitors. Getting off to a good start was so important. It was a matter of settling into a rhythm early and trying to avoid mistakes. Navigation also plays a critical role within the safari. The Western Australian outback can be a dry and barren place, with a seemingly never-ending horizon, making it a real challenge just to find your way. Ben Grabham was again going to be the man to beat. However, he knew last year's runner-up, Jacob Smith of Team Yamaha, would be pushing hard, looking to apply the early pressure. With an impeccable preparation in place, John Hedricks, the 2007 champion, set off in pursuit of more safari glory. Steve Riley and his Mitsubishi Pajero knew he could not let Hedricks and the Holden Colorado team dictate terms if he was going to have any chance of taking the title. The Isuzu team of Bruce Garland and his Japanese navigator, Harry Suzuki, presented an experienced, well-prepared team, as was the Swedish duo of Pelle Wallentine and Ollie Olsen. Garland, a past winner of the event, knew he didn't have the early speed, but he did have what he described as a bulletproof car, which can come in handy in this harsh, unforgiving terrain.
59, 500, 10 right and follow main track.
As the toughest rally on the Australian calendar, the wear and tear on vehicles is unrelenting. The vehicles can have all sorts of mechanical issues along the way, any of which could put them out of the rally. The fast but challenging forest section could catch out the competitors at any time. One mistake here could be costly. Out on the open Henna Lake, the red dust trailed over the horizon. The picturesque landscape proved very deceiving as many of the teams lost valuable time due to navigation errors. It was almost comical at times, with many teams playing follow the leader in the hope that they were on the right path. Winning the safari is not just about speed and stamina, it also requires a good sense of direction. Once you're off track, it proved very difficult to find your way back onto the course. Sue McCready was learning how her driver wanted course references relayed.
If they open it, we shut it?
No, get them through.
What?
Give them through.
No, what do you want me to do?
No, just get...
Talk to me.
We'll go past them here.
Thank you.
Let them go.
You've got to talk to me.
We'll go past them. We'll go past them. Thank you, mate. Beautiful.
Her clear, concise directions and Des Harrington's aggressive driving kept them in the hunt early in day one. This year has seen the inclusion of the quad bike category. Navigation proved to be the biggest hurdle on day one. Without a navigator to lean upon, it was clear the inexperienced field was in for a long, hard slog to Perth. The open section of Henna Lake continued to take its toll on the teams, and it was going to be a long day and night for many of the support crews. The first major upset of the event was the sight of defending champion and outright favourite John Hedricks and Keys Wheel and the Holden Colorado in all sorts of trouble. A rollover had damaged the car, and the team were desperately trying to limp home so they could assess the full extent of the impact. Sadly, their race was to end here, with Safari taking its first major casualty. So let's update the race. Ben Grabham had a trouble-free day, taking up where he left off last year to head the Moto division, with Team Yamaha's Jacob Smith in third. Steve Riley did a great job to work his way through the field to take the honours on day one, ahead of Reg Owen and Russell Cairns. And in the quads, it was Vickers van der Venter who blitzed the field, leading by a staggering 40 minutes.
Oh, look, had a pretty bad day, really. I was sort of in the first competitive section, we didn't even make it. Looks like some little mogul things, and one just kicked in the back, and the car went up in the back quarter, and then another one sort of kicked in the front. It just went over. It was really quite a soft roll.
That's racing. You know, you're going to cop those bad days, and we're just very unlucky. And you know, we're not crying about it. We're very lucky. Both of us walked away.
And behind every successful team at Safari is a successful set of tyres.
This week for the Australian Safari, where BF Goodrich is here, supplying support, of course, to our front-running competitors. But outside of that, we're very happy to supply support to all the other runners in the field. At the end of each day, we change tyres as required, or for repair, let's say, or we put new tyres on as the teams require. For the conditions here on the Safari, we use what's called a rock tyre, where we have a broken rock underneath a loose surface, and then a harder surface underneath that loose surface again. Outside of that, the competitors are commenting that the punches that they receive are caused by short little stumps in the broken ground. As you see, it hasn't been wet here for a long time. Everything's dried out, and those stakes are razor sharp at the moment. It doesn't matter where we are at the top end of Parry Dakar or the other end of the scale at a state rally, let's say. We at BF Goodrich are always looking to develop our product, and any feedback and information we get is always valuable.
Day 2 would see another gruelling 400-kilometre race from Kalgoorlie northwest to Sandstone. It was another early start as the field left the sights of Kalgoorlie under the rising sun. It would be another long day in the saddle. Almost 400 kilometres of racing finishing in Sandstone, a small tourist town with just 47 people, known for its gold mining history and magnificent countryside. Ben Grabham on his Honda CRF 450 was eager to get away and build on the early lead he had over Shane Diener and Jacob Smith. Smith is a slow starter and was looking to improve on his first day's performance.
Oh, I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Seeing that we're out in front, it's always hard to, see where the bikes have gone in front of us. So it'll be hard to sort of pick up the navigation, but he'll just have to listen to me.
The Day 2 course offered a variety of road conditions featuring a series of station tracks and long runs along fence lines, interspersed with a number of winding tracks. A little something for everyone. There was plenty of rough and rocky terrain to negotiate, especially on the road into Sandstone. In the auto division, overnight leader Riley and Doble in their Mitsubishi Pajero relished the opportunity now presented by the demise of the Holden Colorado team. Leading the race, however, does not come without its pitfalls. The lead car now has to set the course, and there is real pressure to get your navigation on track. The weather was again perfect as the Western Australian sun began to heat the outback desert. With no wind in sight, it meant the bikes and cars had to again confront the dust, which reduced visibility along the demanding course. Brian Robertson, showing good manners, moves over to let a faster car through.
Car 184, thanks car 184, much appreciated.
Just tell them to get going and get out of our way.
While Bruce Garland continues to push hard. Western Australia is a vast wilderness. It's staggering 2.5 million square kilometres, making it bigger than the size of Western Europe. Dust clouds rise up as the cars work their way towards an end of an exhausting stage. On board with Brit Dave Rowland. After a small slip-up, he's soon back in the groove. The dry dust and warm conditions just add to the challenge. Even simple things like hydration play a critical role in fighting driver fatigue. Safari really is a battle of endurance, and it's all about pacing yourself across the full duration of the event. Riley and Doble have shown remarkable form coming from the rear of the field on day 1 to take the lead. The Victorian team has invested a great deal of time and money into their campaign, and the rewards are beginning to show. Grabham put in another great performance in day 2, stretching his lead out to 14 minutes. He looks in great form. Riley and Doble had another good day and maintained their lead. The big mover was the Swedish driver Pelle Wallentine, with Harrington, Owen and Garland still in contention. Vickers van der Venter continued on his merry way, leading the quad field by a staggering 1.5 hours, but there's still a long way to go.
Oh, sure, tactics change every day. We really want to just consolidate the lead now at the front and just see if we can keep a bit of time in front of the other guys, but I'm not that confident we can do it, but geez, we're going to try out.
Yeah, had a pretty good day today. Fairly consistent, didn't have any major dramas. You know, I had a pretty good run the first stage and just kept it going for the rest of the day. It was good.
I think I had a pretty good day. Like, I'm still leading again on the road and having to make tracks for everyone else, but it doesn't seem to be too bad at the moment.
There's no respite for the competitors as they tackle the next daunting stage, another 400-kilometre leg north to Meekatharra. Let's hear from 26-year-old Ben Grabham, the Honda star who hails from Bathurst.
Started doing Australian flat track titles and won my first one, I think, at 11. And I don't know, probably won 5 or 6 Aussie titles at that. And then when they started junior enduros, I started doing that and won that. And then pretty much from the day I turned 16, I went overseas with the Australian team for the International 6-day enduro. And I think I've done 7 of them overseas and a couple of world rounds and stuff like that. In this form of racing, like I'm pretty young when you look at like the world scene and stuff like that. But yeah, I've got a lot of years behind me in doing different aspects of the sport, and I don't feel like I'm disadvantaged at any kind doing it. It's definitely tougher this year physical-wise than what it was last year, but I'm not struggling with that side of things. It's just more mental, just sort of the long days, and then like I've still probably got a couple of hours in the afternoon of doing my maps and getting gear ready just so I can get up in the morning at sort of on dark and get ready and jump on the bike and head off. Yeah, I think you definitely need to be fit, because like when it comes down to it and you're struggling, that's what's going to sort of pull you through. And yeah, I think just good general bike fitness is what you need for this. Like, you need a good base to even sort of consider doing it, really, I think. Generally, if I know I'm doing my best, like, I'm happy with that anyway, and it works out pretty good. But yeah, I just try not to worry about anyone else and just do my own thing, and like it doesn't worry me what people say or anything like that. Sort of, I have a pretty strong mind with stuff like that. I don't let things get to me. I just go out there and do the best I can, and that's it.
Day 3 started from Sandstone with a 400-kilometre slog north to Meekatharra. The next 400 kilometres offers a mixed bag of terrain that's expected to put the competitors to the ultimate test.
Yeah, no, I'm having a great time. We've had a few breakdowns, done a fuel pump on day 1 and blew a couple of belts yesterday, so I've lost probably a couple of hours after DNF the first day too, but the tracks have been awesome. I couldn't ask for much better, really.
My co-driver is very experienced, so I hope it will be advanced for us to go first, but well, it's a little bit nervous for us, it is.
Just time for a last-minute equipment check and a recap of the all-important maps before the field heads off. Teamwork plays such an integral role with the Australasian Safari. The driver, the navigator, the car and the service crew must all work together like a well-lubricated machine to be successful. Once again, the majestic landscape and postcard scenery of the Western Australian outback belies the toughness of the course. A rider is down early in the day, but he looks okay as he returns to the race trying to rebuild some confidence. We're on board with the Can-Am crew. After a slow start, they started to make some inroads into the seemingly impregnable lead established early by the South African. Let's hear from the Can-Am Chief Mechanic, Pete Wilhelms.
The stuff specific for this event, we've had to obviously increase the fuel capacity because of the long distances involved. Other than that, we're running a wider offset wheel, which is a stronger wheel with a bead lock on it, so hold the tyre on if the tyre goes flat. But aftermarket suspension, so we've got more adjustability and more tunability out of it. an aftermarket exhaust and a fuel controller, and after that, other than that, we left it pretty stock, keep the motor reliable.
For many of the competitors, it was a matter of building confidence before they started to attack the course. Another rider bites the dust as the challenging course starts to take its toll. Again, no injury, and it's just a matter of getting back in the saddle as quickly as possible. The course will claim many victims by the end of day's play, and many of the battle-worn riders are starting to feel the pinch. Much of the safari is staged on huge tracts of private land, with the landowners giving special permission for the race to pass through. Two riders jostle for position. Egos are at stake, but common sense must also prevail. It takes just one small mistake and you can be out of the race in an instant, and there is still a long road ahead. Changing tyres is also done on the go. One of the race favourites is the Swedish team of driver Pelle Wallentime and co-driver Ollie Olsen. This highly experienced team has adapted well to the local conditions, and they are making a strong push for outright victory in their Isuzu Cross. Current leader Ben Grabham opens a gate as he heads home towards Meekatharra. Grabham went on to record the second fastest time for the day, only beaten by his older brother Damien, but still he did enough to hold on to the overall lead. Neil Dunn rockets down a long fence line, reaching speeds of 180 kilometres per hour. The medics are soon alerted to another accident. It's another bike rider who's come to grief. He seems okay, but the team take no chances, and he is flown out for further medical treatment. The safari is well supported by a strong medical team that features a helicopter and 5 medic vehicles who are on standby during each stage of the race.
Day to day is just watching the riders, keeping track of their movements. If there's an incident, responding to the incident, checking them out, making sure they're right to either keep going on their race, or if need be, sending them off to be assessed at another medical facility.
Pelle Wallentime has taken a wrong turn, but quickly returns to normal transmission. Conditions today proved challenging, with a rocky surface proving especially difficult. Navigating concerns also continue to keep the field honest. Bruce Garland is a past winner of the safari, and he knows what it takes to win. While Robinson and Ward battle on without their windscreen after an altercation with a falling branch. Despite the isolation of the Australasian Safari, the event has developed a strong spectator following. An adventure tour follows each day of the event in 4-wheel drive vehicles, allowing the spectators to experience the racing and the magnificent scenery at first hand. Spectators are now also invited to travel with the competitors, with the adventure tour now becoming an integral part of the safari's success. And special thanks must go to all the teams and volunteers who make Australasian Safari such a success, especially the event sponsors, BF Goodrich, Michelin, Events Corp and Tourism Western Australia. Arriving in Meekatharra, the teams had time to reflect on their day and recharge their batteries prior to another outback assault early next morning, while the crews start to work on repairs late into the night. To the state of play, and Grabham continues to lead the way. The big loser, Ivan Ursig, dropping almost 2 hours over the stage, with Rod Faggoter unlikely to continue due to injury. Riley and Doble continue to lead the autos in their Mitsubishi Pajero, ahead of Des Harrington and Sue McCready. And Vickers Vandeventer still leads the quads ahead of John Maragazidis, almost 1.5 hours behind. Darryl Knight and Paul Smith fill 3rd and 4th spots.
It's a very tough day today, lots of branches and trees and stuff to do damage to your car, yeah, heaps. We can't go that fast, so we can't sort of make a lot of gap on anyone either. It's, you know, we're down on power and spend a lot of time filling up with oil, so we just get out and put the oil in as quick as we can and get going again.
Today was a bit of a tough one. It sort of goes back to the day before I hit a roo, probably about 160 clicks, and did some damage to my ankle. It's been fairly painful. Today I got that ankle caught on some fencing wire, and also crashed and got the ankle caught under the bike, so the ankle's copying a bit of grief at the moment.
Got a couple of new machines out here, the Renegade 800X, which we haven't used out in Australia for this sort of desert racing a lot outside our team. We're finding a couple of little teething problems that we're coming across, but we're slowly getting our way through them. Hopefully today we're having a good run. The sport's exploding. In the last couple of years it's just gone through the roof, and thanks to companies like Can-Am who are putting a lot of money into sporting events like the Thumb Pump 300. They've sponsored this race as well. There's a lot of racing going on, a lot of motocross, a lot of cross-country events going on, and 47 Industries are looking at running a couple of extra national enduros next year as well, like we did one this year. There's a lot of enduros and a lot of that sort of sport coming along for quad racing. It's going to be a big year next year, that's for sure.
Just when you thought the race couldn't get any harder, day 4 arrived, and it was to be the longest and toughest stage of the safari.
Emergency, emergency. We are on special stage 14 at 30.15 kilometres. We have a bike rider down. Anyone got a copy? Car 103, 103, this is the road director. Can you confirm the distance of 10.06?
The Carnarvon Rangers would keep everyone on edge, including the medics. The 600-kilometre loop from Meekatharra and back again provided some real extremes. First, the field headed into the Little Sandy Desert. It then ventured into Spinifex sand plains, before skirting the rough and rocky Carnarvon Ranges. It also followed a section along the famous old rabbit-proof fence. Grabban was out to extend his solid lead. He's currently the most successful desert racer in the country, having won a string of leading races. Yamaha's Rod Faggoter incredibly returned from hospital to continue his race. But just how the 600-kilometre grilling leg was going to affect his health was anyone's guess.
Yeah, just trying to get through the day without any crashes and any mistakes, but everything's going all right so far.
Once again, thick clouds of red dust were very much the order of the day. It's not so easy to overtake, and reference points also become difficult to find. With over 80 vehicles in the event, it looked like Safari was going to be a race for survival. Just finishing the race is a challenge in itself, let alone winning it. The early rocky tracks really started to test the teams. The wear and tear on vehicles is unrelenting. The vehicles can have all sorts of mechanical issues along the way, and it's just a matter of knowing when to push and when to ease off. Showing his vast rally experience, Van der Venter continued to pass traffic, while Wallentine also continued to push forward. Not even the Vickers Van der Venter Fortress was immune to the safari toil, and his quad started to experience problems. He was soon going again, but Bruce Garland was now closing the gap. Leg 4 was to be the defining day of the safari. It was a day when serious time could be made or lost. All the leading cars knew they had to make a move in this, the most challenging stage, if they were to have any chance of finishing on the podium. On board with Reg Owen, with the Swedes right behind, Owen decides to let them through.
Go now. Okay, Harris. Thanks, mate. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Rider in difficulty waits for help. There can be a long time between drinks out here, in this, the most isolated part of the world deep in the Western Australian outback. The navigators played a critical role in keeping the cars on track. Out here, one missed turn can take you miles off course and spell disaster. The support teams waited anxiously for their competitors to appear out of the desert. For the officials too, it was a long, arduous day, as the medical team went into overdrive, answering a number of calls. Another medical call, and this time it was Shane Diener seeking support after hitting a wayward kangaroo at high speed. Shane broke his leg, but did more damage to his bike than to himself. He was quickly stabilised and taken by helicopter to a medical facility. If the Western Australian outback didn't offer enough challenges, there are also plenty of kangaroos to keep your attention. Australasian Safari operates across a very isolated, remote terrain, and the ability to communicate effectively is essential to the event's success. With the help of Orion satellite systems, the race officials and medical staff can run the event efficiently. Orion also allows the event to beam media content to news services around the world. Now to the latest. Ben Grabham continued to lead the Moto division, but the points separating second and third continued to close. Jacob Smith and his brother Todd both had mechanical problems and dropped out of contention. In the Auto division, Des Harrington did well to claw back some time on Riley and Doble in the Mitsubishi Pajero. In the quads, John Marigazidis and Can-Am's Darryl Knight closed the gap on Vickers van der Venter, but they still had plenty of work to do. The Michelin magic moment from this year's event went to Queensland rider Rod Faggoter for sheer courage. Despite a huge crash on day 3 and a trip to hospital, Rod returned to the race, ignoring the pain to finish day 4 in 3rd position. During a pause in racing, we had a chance to catch up with Swedish duo Pelle Wallentime and Ollie Olsen.
We was here last year and did a safari, and I didn't know anything about the Australian safari more than Ollie have told me. And Troy Carpenter, he suggested to me to call Bruce Garland. I never heard about him before, and he said, well, Australian safari could be a good race for you to start in. And he called Bruce and asked if we could rent a car from him, and he said yes. And well, we did that last year, and now I bought the car. And well, now we have bigger plans for the future. Oh, I can tell you, if I didn't have Ole next to me, we will be in there. We will never come out from the stage. I'm so glad that he sits next to me, because it's amazing, you know, that way. Well, there's no track. Go that way. And it's the right way, you know. I can't understand how you can find a way.
Every country has their own type of terrain. Dubai, pure sand. Africa has a little bit of everything. And Australia has its outback. And I love them all. All is different, challenging thing. So, but it's good for us. We have to practice, me and Pelle, because it's more difficult, I think, in a car than on a bike. Much more difficult.
You know, it's a long rally, and you know, we saw actually the first day, you know, was it 4 or 5 cars who had really bad accidents, and you must be patient, you know. Your time will come if you drive safety and you are close to the top. You will be there in the end.
Day 5 would see the teams head out of the outback mining town of Meekatharra for a 470-kilometre race southwest towards Mount Magnet.
Oh, we've had a pretty good run actually. No problems, no dramas, haven't hit too much stuff. Good navigation, and we were just slow and steady.
I think yesterday, the boys up in front drove quite hard yesterday. They may have overdriven their cars and damaged them that they don't know yet. Maybe today we'll find out whether it's... We looked after hours yesterday and had a good clean run.
Western Australia now threw up a whole new challenge. This time it was rain. Rain can have a dramatic effect on racing, with dust quickly turning into mud, changing the contour of the surface.
Yeah, well, I think the weather today will be an advantage because it'll settle some of the dust, especially for the tail runners. They won't be sitting in the dust, and it'll make passing a lot easier.
We've changed tyres, we've gone to aggressive tyre for mud. We know if we get rain out there today, these other tyres, no way known are they going to get through the speed that we are. We had a disastrous day yesterday. We got misplaced on the map and we lost half an hour. So our game plan shot the ribbons, but the rain may be a saviour to us.
It's a common saying within Safari that you play the first half of Safari conservatively and only apply the pressure in the back half of the race. With the longer legs now behind us, this final push now started to emerge. The big question in the service pits was what tyres to use. Who was going to use wet weather mud tyres? A definite advantage if the course stays muddy, but not so good if it dries out. Once out on the course, the conditions held off, allowing the front runners to set a cracking pace. It was now or never for many of the teams wanting to make their mark. On board with Ivan Erzig. He lost plenty of time on day one and was now steadily making his way back through the field as he moved past the leading quad rider. Harrington and McCready, still in second place, pushed hard, desperate to make up some time. Wallentine in fourth tried everything he could to move up one place and into the medals. Erzig found a novel way of getting through a gate. A puff of smoke from the Mitsubishi sent alarm bells ringing for Steve Riley. Engine trouble was the last thing they needed now, so late in the race. The big question was, would the car hold together for 2 more days to secure a win? The rear view from the Dunn Coventry car shows just how much dust the cars throw up. The chopper gives us a bird's eye view as the action unfolds. Back at the service centre, the crews were waiting to commence work on the vehicles. While the rain managed to hold off, it was still another tough day at the office. With just 2 days to go, at least everyone could see the finish in sight. Crews were working overtime to keep the remaining vehicles in good working order. In came Riley and Doble for a quick pit, a top-up of oil for the damaged engine. The Isuzu crew knew it was important to get their cars back out as soon as possible.
Well, we're leaning on them now, but the problem is they need to have some problems for it to come back to us. But what we're doing is pushing now, and then if they have a problem, then we're ready to strike.
Between ruts.
Harrington had his hands full, while Jason Pearce set a solid pace. During the final stages of day 5, the bikes hit full speed, with engines whining at 170 kilometres per hour. The rain started to fall again, and it looked like a wet day 6 could present a defining moment in the race. Today's finish was at Mount Magnet. Magnet is the oldest surviving gold settlement of this region and is 250 kilometres east of Geraldton. Back at home base in Mount Magnet, the clouds loomed ominously as the teams began to check and recheck the cars and bikes before the final 2 legs towards Perth.
Nah, it wasn't to be this year. No, I'm gutted for myself and for the team who's put so much effort in. You know, my old man, team manager, and all the mechanics and everyone just put so much time and effort and hard work into it. You know, and it's a cruel race, but you know, we'll be back next year and hopefully we can get back on top.
Oh, it's pretty tough, you know, but it's certainly a challenge, and we enjoy the challenge. And the organisers have laid on a spectacular event, much better than last year. Really, no complaints about it whatsoever.
The car is going really well. I'm starting to learn how to handle the car better, being that I only seen the car a couple of days before the race started, so the car's going really well. My father actually got me involved in the sport. He is navigating in car 104, and they're also doing quite well. I've got a fantastic navigator who's helped me through a lot and teaching me a lot about how to drive as well while he's navigating. It's very remote, but it's gorgeous. I reckon everyone should make at least one trip in their lifetime out to the outback of Australia. Doesn't matter what part it is, but make one trip to the outback.
Damien Grabham lost second place to the brave Rod Faggoter, who continued to ride despite a facial injury. Harrington and McCready saw their push for the lead vanish, losing 17 minutes during a disappointing stage, with a Riley Doble Mitsubishi team maintaining their lead. Vanderventer crashed heavily and retired from the race, handing John Maragazidis an unexpected lead ahead of Can-Am duo Knight and Smith in second and third. One thing that separates the leading teams from the privateers is the use of tyres. Glenn Hoffman Racing is supported by Michelin, and as a result has given access to the best tyres available. quality, reliable tyres like the Michelin are fundamental to the success of any team here at Safari. Due to heavy overnight rain, it was decided to cancel the Day 6 leg from Mount Magnet to Geraldton, with the track conditions deemed just too treacherous. Race officials decided to send the teams to Geraldton for a well-earned rest, with Day 6 deemed a neutral day. Once there, the teams put on a display for the locals, with the vehicles on show for the public. Sue McCready took time out to explain the art of navigating safari style.
Right, I've got two terror trips, one's a backup and one's my main one. Now they will give me a cumulative distance that we've travelled, so the total from the start of the stage to the end of the stage as we go, and the intermediate will give you the distance between the calls. So the distances between the calls are on the book, and so I'm clearing it once we go past things, and from there then you know when the next call comes up. I tell my different drivers want different things. What Des wants is he wants to know as soon as he's had one call, he wants to know what the next one is, regardless of how far it is. Then he wants a 500 metre call, 300, 200 and 100. I've got a mostly set on distance, and then I just clear them here. That one's next to my cumulative and that's my intermediate. If we do need to know what speed we're going, which is generally on a road section, then I would move it onto speed. Those two cal buttons, that's calibrate, so we can set it to what the director's distances are. So just because their terror trip may read slightly different to ours, and that allows me to change my setting to make it match theirs, so that those calls come up exactly as they're supposed to. As soon as you know that something's gone wrong, you've got to make a note of where you are with your distance-wise, and keep all of that, try and keep that in your head as well, and then look ahead at the different calls to see what would be coming up and to see if you can pick it back up again. The cars are phenomenally fast. They're the fastest cars I've ever competed in, and yeah, it can be quite difficult. Your maths needs to be on the ball, and you need to have your brain in gear at all times.
Trust the Tick is an easy way to recognise an accredited Tourism Council of Western Australia operator. The safari organisers use Trust the Tick to plan all the accommodation and tourism aspects of the event, a massive exercise for the large number of staff, competitors, volunteers and personnel following the event.
Hi, I'm Sue McCready from Team Tambry.
I'm Brent Twaddle from Roo Racing.
I'm Gary Whittle from Team Husserberg, and you're watching the Australasian Safari.
From Geraldton, the distance to Perth is 600 kilometres, with a competitive stage just a short 75-kilometre run. Following overnight rain, the countryside changed dramatically, with a rich tapestry of greenery now replacing the dry red desert. Despite the short run home, there were still plenty of positions up for grabs across all divisions. Ben Grabham held a handy lead in the moto division, but the real battle was for second and third between Rod Faggoter and Damien Grabham. The auto, Steve Riley, with the engine waning, still needed to nurse his car to Perth. Des Harrington in second and Bruce Garland in third knew they were still in with a chance. On board with Andrew Coker, and a momentary lapse takes him temporarily off course. During a critical moment of the race, the field was faced with a difficult river crossing. Grabham took a very cautious approach to the crossing, not wanting to risk flooding his engine. Any engine trouble here and his race would be over. The trick was to stay calm and to simply push through, as Warren Strange and Coker showed us how. With the danger now behind him, Ben Grabham now moved closer to a second safari title, the Honda CRF 450 continuing to perform superbly. Auto leader Steve Riley now heads towards the water. It would seem only a complete disaster can stop him now. He manages the crossing with ease, and with Perth now squarely in his sights. Bruce Garland and his navigator Harry Suzuki continue to drive hard, despite knowing it's all a little too late in the day. Garland must be ruing the fact that Day 6 was cancelled, knowing it was his last real chance to make an impact. Their diesel Isuzu has well and truly stood up to the challenge. The quads have been a great addition to this year's safari, and they have certainly added variety and spark to the event. Expect a big showing from the quads next year. Just when it looked like the Mitsubishi Pajero team had the auto title gift wrapped, their progress was halted by a loss of traction. In a short but dramatic few moments, Riley realised his title was suddenly in jeopardy. He desperately tried to get the car moving. And finally it clawed its way to the top of the hill and on to what would be a remarkable victory. The flooding caused all sorts of havoc on the final day, with many of the riders forced to walk their bikes after flooding engines. Safari continued to test the field right to the very end. This time it was Des Harrington stranded on the same hill as Riley, and he now faced losing his second place. Things then went from bad to worse when another car rammed into him.
Come on, Pop! For sake! Oh, mate! That wasn't smart. What do you want me to do? Get him back! What do you want me to do? Can you push us back?
Meanwhile, the bikes continued to wrestle with the water hazard, some opting to walk their bikes rather than risk water damage. After an anxious few minutes, Harrington finally escaped the quagmire. With victory in reach, Steve Riley and John Doble started to celebrate an historic win over Harrington, who never gave up right to the very end.
Good on you, mate. Well done.
Swedes Pelle Wollentime and Ollie Olsen also celebrated a fine performance, content with fourth place. And so, after 7 gruelling days of the Australasian Safari, here are the final standings. Congratulations to Ben Grabham, taking back-to-back titles on his Honda ahead of a courageous Rod Faggoter in second, and Ben's brother Damien Grabham third. Steve Riley and John Doble in the Mitsubishi Pajero took out the Safari Auto title, holding on to their lead since early on day one. And it was a good win to John Marigazidis, who made the most of his opportunities to win the inaugural quad division.
Yeah, we had a lot of dramas at the start of the race. We sort of dusted an engine, passed everyone, had a fairly bad seating position, and you know, the car's very fast, and starting down the back it was very difficult getting past the competitors. It's a brand new car, the 3-door Pajero, and it's a fantastic little car, and it took a hell of a punishment. We've hit lots of trees and had lots of offs, lots of unders, lots of overs, you name it, we've had it. Look, we're here, it's a privilege to be in this state. Around this country, it's just so beautiful to pass through and take it all in, and we've had a ball over here.
Oh, look, the teamwork worked, everything worked, and we're just so happy to be here. Raps for Steve and John too. It's been the toughest event I've ever done, and one of the most beautiful.
This has been an excellent safari, and I've been on it along with John Riley. We've been on it since 1985 when they first introduced the Wind Safari, and This is reminiscent of the old days, but fortunately we've got service crews this year, or these nowadays, so it's been really good.
It's been a lot harder than last year, just a lot more busy and just tougher in general. It's just been good to sort of, I suppose, sort of set the pace and being able to stay a little bit relaxed and comfortable and sort of not feel too much pressure and do anything silly.
Yeah, definitely wrapped with that. Yep.
And what was the toughest part of the event for you?
Probably the marathon day 4, I suppose, after my injury on day 3. Even though the injury knocked us around, trying to get through day 4 was the hardest for me.
The BF Goodrich magic moment has to go to the dynamic duo of Des Harrington and Sue McCready. 6 days of hard work nearly evaporated on the final stage when they were stuck on a hill. Only through some measured and quick thinking were they able to escape the drama to rescue their safari campaign. So, after an exhaustive 4,400 kilometre race across the remote expanses of Western Australia, the winning crews took the time to unwind and enjoy the spoils of victory. Congratulations to the organisers and our major sponsors, Michelin, BF Goodrich, Events Corp and Tourism Western Australia, for helping to make Australasian Safari such an outstanding success. Australasian Safari has once again shown why it's referred to as the Paris to Dakar of the Southern Hemisphere, with Western Australia setting the scene for another titanic battle between man, machine and the elements.